Hello everyone, I'm Ernie and I am so glad you're here with us today. Today we are back on the project with some Gabbro Intrusion from Lord Shadow from Montana. In this project today that we're going to do with our Gabbro Intrusion from Montana is that we are going to turn our sulfides into oxides using sulfuric acid, sodium nitrate, and 3% hydrogen peroxide, and that will turn the sulfides into oxides, and then we will go through our normal process with Aquaria to get any gold that might be in this ore. A couple of weeks ago we did a project using this Gabbro Intrusion and we smelted it and we just got a micro bead of gold. And so anyhow, we're going to use our Aquaria process today and we'll see what we get out of this ore from Lord Shadow. And Lord Shadow, once again, I just want to say thank you so much for sending us this ore to give us this project to work on, and let's see if we can get any gold, and let's get to it. Before we get started in this project, I do want to make a mention that we should always wear our proper PPE with our respirator, with some safety glasses, maybe even a safety shield. And today we're going to use vinyl gloves because we'll be working with sulfuric acid, and nitrile gloves don't work good at all with sulfuric acid, but the vinyl gloves will, and let's get to it. Today we are going to use about 260 grams of this Gabbro Intrusion ore because that's about what we used in our other project when we smelted the ore, and I want to get it as close as possible so that way we can match up the two processes and see how much gold is in this Gabbro Intrusion. The first step of this process is we are going to use some sulfuric acid, some distilled water, some sodium nitrate, and 3% hydrogen peroxide. In this first step, we are going to dilute our sulfuric acid with 200 milliliters of heated distilled water, and then we will slowly add in 200 milliliters of sulfuric acid. I will use a pipette to add in our sulfuric acid into the water. And it's important to understand is that we need to put the sulfuric acid into the water, not the other way around. As we work this procedure, I would like for you to take notice of the reaction as the sulfuric acid gets into the water and the reaction that occurs in it. This process actually takes a lot of time, so we're going to fast forward until we get close to the end because I would like you to see how the reaction slows up as we put in the sulfuric acid into the distilled water. And once the reaction is basically done, we can pour the rest of the sulfuric acid into the distilled water. I highly recommend that you do not pour the sulfuric acid into the distilled water until there is no more reaction. Otherwise, you will have a thermal reaction where the water and the sulfuric acid will boil out and you can possibly get burned really, really bad. Now I will take our diluted sulfuric acid and pour it into our Gabbro Intrusion ore. The reason for the delay in the pour is I wanted to see if there was going to be any type of a reaction of pouring the sulfuric acid into the ore. Now I am going to add in a half a tablespoon of sodium nitrate into our sulfuric acid and our ore. I am slowly adding in the sodium nitrate to see if there's going to be any type of a reaction from the sodium nitrate into the sulfuric acid. I just want to make a mention is to stir your material thoroughly. Now we will add in our 3% hydrogen peroxide. I will use a little pipette to add in the hydrogen peroxide into our solution, and I will add a total of 8 milliliters of 3% hydrogen peroxide into our solution. Our sulfuric acid wash has been sitting now for 1 hour and 15 minutes, and you can see how the solution is layered. It kind of reminds me of a caramel macchiato drink from Starbucks, because an iced caramel macchiato drink from Starbucks is a layered drink. We will now pour our solution out, and we will rinse this 3 times. And this is the first of 3 rinses. And here is the final pour of our 3rd rinse. Here we will proceed with our HCl, otherwise known as our hydrochloric acid wash. I normally don't measure my hydrochloric acid for the wash. I just pour in enough where I think it's enough to do a sufficient job of washing our material. And I will let our hydrochloric acid wash stand for 1 hour. We will now pour out our HCl wash, and I will give this 3 rinses, and as normal, I won't show all 3 rinses because I don't want to make this video redundant, but we will rinse this out 3 times. And this is the first of 3 rinses. Here is our final pour from our 3rd HCl rinse. Now we will prepare for our 50-50 nitric acid wash with 175 milliliters of distilled water and 175 milliliters of nitric acid. I will slowly add in our nitric acid because I don't want to cause any type of a reaction. It's been 1 hour for our nitric acid wash. We will pour this out and we will give this 2 rinses. This is our first distilled water pour for our first distilled water rinse. Here is our second pour from our second rinse. Now we will make our Aquaria, and I will use 200 milliliters of hydrochloric acid, also known as HCl, and I will use 15 milliliters of nitric acid, also known as HNO3. I am adding our nitric acid in slowly as I keep an eye on the reaction. Once our Aquaria was thoroughly mixed, I did let it sit for 17 hours. Throughout the 17 hours, I did come back periodically to give our solution a good stir. Now we will filter out our Aquaria. After pouring out the Aquaria from the beaker, I did add a little more distilled water in to give the Aquaria a little rinse. Now that our Aquaria is filtered out, we will now add in our sulfamic acid, and our sulfamic acid will neutralize or denox our Aquaria. I normally add in sulfamic acid until the reaction stops in the Aquaria, but in this process today, I'm getting no reaction in the Aquaria, so I'm guessing on how much sulfamic acid I need to add in. At this point, I am going to do a Stannous chloride test to see if there is any gold in our Aquaria. And we have a negative result from our Stannous chloride test. We are going to continue with our project to see if there is anything in our solution. Now we will filter out the sulfamic acid crystals that's inside our Aquaria. The Stannous chloride that we use for our Stannous chloride test we made here in our lab, and I will leave a link in our description box on how you can make this in your lab also. The nitric acid that we also use is what we've made here in our lab, and I will also leave a link in the description box on how you can make your own easy nitric acid. Now we will make 100 milliliters of ferrous sulfate, also known as iron sulfate, using 100 milliliters of hot distilled water and 3 tablespoons of iron sulfate. Here is our Aquaria mixed with some iron sulfate, and hopefully we can get a gold drop out of this solution. Here is what our solution looks like after 2 hours, and I did leave this on the heater for 22 hours. It's the following day and 22 hours later, and let's go see if we get any type of a drop in our beaker. And yes, we do have a drop in our beaker. We will pour our solution out and give it a hot distilled water rinse. One rinse will be sufficient for this part of the process. Now we will give our drop the last hydrochloric acid wash. Now we will pour out our hydrochloric acid wash and give our material one last distilled water rinse. We will now add in some anhydrous borax to solidify any gold inside that material. And here is our gold bead that we got out of that ½ pound of Gabbro Intrusion. And really, that's not a bad result for ½ pound of ore. Well, this wraps up this episode with our Gabbro Intrusion from Montana from Lord Shadow. And we got basically the same amount of gold out of this project as we did with the smelting project. And so our process is consistent. And so for me, that's a win for me. And I hope it's a win for you, because when we do our projects, we want to be consistent as we pay attention to details. So anyhow, this was a great project for me. I hope it was for you. And if you enjoyed this episode, I encourage you to smash that like button and to share this on your channel so others can enjoy the process. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, I would love to encourage you to subscribe and to become part of our AU family. We would love to have you in the family. We love to communicate with you. We're so thankful that you're here. We deeply appreciate your support, and we will see you on the next one.